My name is Brandon, and over the past year, the Delight Cafe team and I have traveled across the U.S. researching this rapidly growing industry of CBD products. What we have found throughout the industry were products that were inconsistent in dosage and used ingredients that weren't even lab tested. Products with chalky textures, bitter aftertaste, and worst of all, confusion among the CBD consumers. That's why we created Delight Cafe. A 15 milligram, lab tested, all natural, water soluble hemp CBD powder pack. It's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Add it to your favorite drink of choice, wherever, whenever, on the go. Quickly find your calm, your balance, and your delight when you need it most.
Good morning. Good morning. Java Delight will uplift you. Stay tuned. The show is about to begin. Grab your coffee. Stay tuned. This show is about to begin.
Hi, my name is Gavin Kerr.
My name is Brandon Croucher.
And you're watching Java Delight.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell.
Enjoy the show.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello. I don't know where you may be in the world, but we are here to bring you a shot of Java to get you through the rest of your day or into your lunch. And a pint of delight. I don't know. I was changing that and it didn't sound right as it was coming out. My name is Brandon Croucher and I'm very glad you guys are here to join us at Delight Cafe or Java Delight this morning. And I am with the one, the only Elsa. Now, if I say it wrong, you're gonna have to yell at me.
No, it's almost right. It's like ill, like an ill. Yes, I don't think you'll ever forget it now. It's like Ilsa. It's a German name, Ilsa.
So you live in South Africa. You have a German name. There's so much about you to get to know.
I think I've got a French or something stupid. Because my maiden surname is Pieterse.
Wait, what? Do that again.
Pieterse.
Pieterse.
Yes, perfect. That's my maiden surname.
Really?
Yes. So it's a weird name.
Surname? You said surname. What is a surname? Just so
it's
I
like
don't.
Your last name. We call it a surname. Yes. So it's your last name, family name.
Perfect.
Yes.
So you and I have got to know each other a little bit better today. We were having fun backstage and talking. Guys, we're gonna get to know Elsa today. See, I'm never gonna forget it now. I'm gonna think out of my head.
You don't have to make the sound and the face. Just like
I want to do it properly. Elsa, how are you today?
I'm gonna regret this for the rest of my life.
You're like, I should have never agreed to do this.
I should have just gone with Elsa.
Let him think I'm one of the frozen princesses.
I am. My daughter says I am, so then I definitely am.
I think you're a princess too, but then again, I think I'm a princess at times too. So
we all have some princess in us.
Find your inner unicorn. That's all I tell people.
Exactly. I agree.
I'm just a Care Bear at heart. So like for me, do you know what the Care Bears are? I don't know what you have.
I know the Care Bears. Yes.
So do you know the Ninja Turtles?
We do know the
Okay.
Ninja Turtles. Yes,
Wow.
we know all the Marvel movies, so we get to
Okay.
see. Yes, we've got Netflix. We've got
Is it different?
exact. I think it is. I'm not sure, but I know that sometimes when we want to log in onto your websites, it has to be launched in South Africa. So if it's this, like, let's say for instance, I can't think of a name now, but if you've got a service from South Africa, I can't use the service unless I'm
Really?
in America, unless it's launched. Yes, some of the things you can't. You have to put an American address and stuff in.
Really? That is
Yes.
like that makes sense, but at the same point, if you hear something, sorry, I'm trying to make sure I have everything running, and all of a sudden I realize my volume's off everywhere. That's funny. So that is interesting to me because of the fact that, bless you,
Thank you.
even though it was a cough, I'm gonna still
Mm.
bless you. You know.
All blessings are welcome.
So we were talking, Elsa and I were talking about her job. About like what she does in South Africa. And she has probably the coolest job I've ever heard of. She is a shark trainer and she teaches the sharks how to jump out of the water and
Through
like
hoops.
through hoops. Yes.
Yes, they
And
jump through hula hoops.
correct. Like you tell us about your training of how do you teach these great white sharks how to jump through hula hoops? Yeah, you want to play?
Well,
I'll play.
no, you've got me there. I'm like, that's not what I do. Sharks can't jump through hoops.
Yet. That is
Yes.
because you're teaching them. You are training. you like. I heard if you put a piece of chum on the end, they'll jump and like grab it, like nip it with their nose, like a dolphin or a shamu, a
Well,
whale.
maybe someone has the
So
guts to train. I mean, if you can train an alligator, soon somebody will train a shark. I mean,
what? We're going back to this. Who trains alligators? Is that what you do for a job? And you've
no.
been lying to me about these sharks the whole time?
You're giving away all my secrets.
Sorry, I'll be quiet.
I've seen some videos on YouTube where people put their heads into alligator mouths, and if I'm not mistaken, it's Americans. I mean, I've watched the Tiger King.
That is
I
not a
watched
good
the Tiger.
representation of Americans. Like, I hate to say that, but
Why
like,
not? We've got people like that in South Africa as well. That's what you guys don't understand. We
no,
have
I get
serial
it, but
killers. We even have Tiger Kings. They're not as big as your Tiger Kings, but we have them. We had a guy in a small town that had a tiger as a pet that lived in a suburb. The tiger lives with him in his house. The tiger escaped and they had to look for it a couple of years ago. I'm not even joking.
okay, we've had this conversation before, but I've never had it with you. What would be a pet you'd want that you probably shouldn't have? Like lions, tigers, sharks, alligators. So I'll give you a clue. Mine was a penguin. And that's because I picture myself
Oh,
as
that's a good
Batman.
one.
Oh, like I want to be so successful that I pull up in a Tesla, like in an Uber. I pull up with a Tesla for one person to get in, and then I'm like, hold on, I need to move my butler to the back. And I unbuckle him and move him to the back, and we're both in tuxes. Like that is what I want. One time is all I need, just for the fun.
Please just let me know when this happens because I have to see this. I love penguins. I love
Me
penguins.
too.
They're
Yes.
awesome. Yes. But mine would be a polar bear. Can you imagine the amazing hugs a polar bear must give?
Have you hugged Brian Tracy? Because his
I
nickname.
haven't.
Oh, see, his nickname is the polar bear. It's mainly because he's big and white, but he hugs like a bear.
Yes. I've got a
Yeah.
couple of friends as well. They just like squeeze out all the stress. Like it's all you need.
You know what? I love how you said that. So let's play a game because what we were talking about in the background before the show was actually about what's going on in the US and around the world. And yes, we are princesses. Ready? Let's do our princess wave. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Am I doing it right?
Yeah, perfect. The arm is like an L, and then the hand is cupped, and we turn it. And it's like when you're in a parade, just hello. I don't know how to properly wave, and my fingers do not separate, and I don't go like this. I just do this. So, Stuart Lone Wolf, I agree. It would be easier to train an octopus than a shark. And Brian Tracy, good morning, my friend. We are the princesses. Fun fact.
Octopuses are just wet spiders.
I didn't see that coming. Thank you. They're just wet spiders. Wow.
Yes.
Wow, what an analogy. I have not heard that ever. So like you just
Exactly.
you took my mind, and I'm like, wait a minute. She's right and she's wrong at the same time, but she's right. Like they're so much smarter than spiders. Oh, can I get coffee to come out your nose this morning?
Almost.
I'm going to be timing things. And now I know when to say your name. I'm going to be like, right when she goes, oh, yeah, Brandon. I'll be like, So Elsa and I were talking today about how COVID is going, because we're in the United States and we have this conversation. We've talked about other countries and that, but we were talking about South Africa, and her and I were talking about what the regulations are, where people are going, how things are being treated there. But I think it's funny we talk about a hug, because how many times have you wanted to hug somebody since this pandemic started, and you kind of got froze up because of everything going? Like, go ahead.
I actually had an incident at work when the COVID just started. So one of my friends went through a very tough time, and we were standing outside, and I could see he's upset. And I went to him and I actually gave him a hug, but right in front of the security camera. I gave him a hug and I said, listen, my friend, everything will be okay. And the next day they gave me a written warning. And I'm like, I'll sign it. Yes, they gave me a written warning for hugging him, because the regulations that South Africa has, everywhere you're not allowed to hug. And I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger. My love language is touch. Mm-hmm. You can ask my kids. I'm always tickling them or doing something with them just so that I can touch them.
Yeah.
Understand? And playing with them. And because that's my love language. And for me, that was the most difficult thing. And I've got good relationship with the people that I work with. I mean, I love them to death. I've been working with them for 5 years almost now. And just over 4 years. And then, but at a previous company for the same boss, I also worked with him. So we've known each other for years.
Wow. So like, it's easy to connect your family now. Yes. That hug is essential. Like, and we've removed that. Like,
yes.
Go ahead.
The thing is, he knew that he must give me the warning, but he didn't want to. He said to me, I know why, because he spoke to Kaiser, my friend that I hugged, and he said that she just gave me a hug. But he was standing there because I just gave him a hug. He didn't hug me back. So I thought they were giving him a warning as well. And I'm like, I'm sorry. He says, no, it's because I hugged him. I'm like, okay, which is fair. So I didn't want him to get a warning, but my boss actually says, I don't want to give you the warning, but they can close down my business. So and just be careful. Yes. And I signed it with love. I'm like, I got you, don't worry. So
and that's a respectful thing, but like, everybody write in the comments if you've had a situation like this. Have you had somebody that you wanted to hug? Have you had somebody that you wanted to anything? Because I have to be honest, it's one of these things where I have felt that I have had people in my life that I've wanted to go give appreciation to, show love to, give them the respect that I understand they're in a tough situation, or just I needed a hug. And you can't do that now. Like, for real, I hugged people, and like you said, they didn't hug back. He probably had his arms to his side, like, and shocked. And for me, that's so sad. Like, I watched my mouth there. I'm saving my F word. But, like, it is, like, sad. And I'm listening to how many people are dealing with this. And I had a conversation with somebody in Canada the other day. And I bring this up because she was telling me her husband went out to go get, like, groceries. And he didn't go at the assigned time. And he got a $1,500 ticket. Like, yes, for going and buying one thing of milk. Like, and that's where I'm sitting here going, that is very different. Because in Ohio, there were people who still didn't want to wear masks. And then you have states like California who are now talking about making it mandated for employers to have their employees get the vaccine. And I'm sitting here going, there is a lot going on here, and there's a lot of confusion. And then when you talk to everybody else around the world, it makes for even more confusion. So, like me, Brian Tracy's in Michigan. So to give you an example, him and I are maybe 4 to 5 hours from each other right now, which is very close for what we usually are. And I would take a Brian Tracy hug in a heartbeat. And I'm not going to think like, oh, he's going to give me COVID. Oh, he's going to make me smell like a polar bear. None of it. Like, I'm just ready to hug people again.
Me too.
You're right. Britt Brat says she gives the best hugs. Sherry McQueen, I've hugged them. Stuart Lone Wolf, I'm lucky the pandemic has had almost zero impact on my life.
Wow.
And Stuart, I'm very happy for you on that. Like, I'm being dead serious. Where we were talking before the show about how, like, there's so much confusion and things that can help this, they're not bringing out. So, like, if you want people to get vaccinated because it's our health, then you need to be telling us, like, having everybody that the conspiracy theorists don't listen to, such as the politicians, and the celebrities, they're the ones, you're good. They're the ones that are out here telling us to go get it, which rings more red flags for people. So if you were to get the vaccine, what would it be that we would need to see before you go get it? And I don't know if Elsa's got it or not, but
hopefully not, because I sound sick already when you say my name. Hi, Mandy.
Like, I sound sick already. No, I sound sick saying your name. I'm like, guys, it's me, Brandon. Thank you for being here. I'm here with my beautiful co-host Elsa today, and
hi, guys.
She only has a cold when I say her name. That's why it makes it work, you know? But, like, in all seriousness, this is a very serious topic that a lot of people are stressed about. The whole world is talking about. How do you respond to it?
I really don't want the vaccine. I don't want the vaccine. And not for any conspiracy theorist or all that. I just don't want it. I don't feel safe taking it. And I'm choosing to believe my gut because of all the things that I've seen and what I've heard. There is no proof that it works. And it's like common sense for me. I feel that the reasons they give you to drink it or to get the vaccination is just unacceptable.
Yeah. I agree.
It's nothing. You can't tell me that I have to take the vaccine, but then I can still get sick. I'm just not as sick as because that's how I understand it. And if I prepared myself for doing life in a healthy way, what's the odds? You've got the same odds with taking the vaccine without taking the vaccine. So personally, I'm not comfortable taking it yet because I want to travel. So they're already restricting you to take the vaccine if you want to travel.
Yeah.
So why now I get discriminated against because I didn't take the vaccine?
And that's actually where I want to go. And it's not starting I want to make sure I emphasize this because you and I were talking about this. I do not want the anger. the emotion that's behind this. And because this is a sensitive topic, and a lot of people are tired of hearing about the pandemic too. They're tired of hearing about the vaccine. And I want to find the way we can turn this into a positive. How do we twist this negative thing that all of us are talking about into a positive? And I mean that as in like coming together and hearing it. Like I told you, Ilsa, before the show, and I did it without the extra in there this time.
Thank you.
But like I was saying how yesterday a very polar political person, Mr. Donald Trump, came out and admitted that he has gotten the vaccine and that he wants people to get the vaccine for the herd immunity, which was very different from what it was before. That doesn't mean he's sold out. That doesn't mean anything. I don't want to go down that path. It's the fact that you have a political person that has such polar opposite views of others saying, hey, wait a minute. Here's something that I'm even going to do to be out here and show leadership. And that's what he's trying to do on that. And that's not me being Brandon and being a conspiracy theorist. That's me saying this is what the facts are. And he's come out and asked people to do this for themselves. And the people that hate him the most in the media and all that don't want people to talk about that. But that's your way of connecting with the conspiracy theorists. It's how do you get people to actually feel comfortable with the vaccine? How do you get people to feel comfortable with wanting to move on to the next phase? Is you literally have to get the people who were the ones that were against it and were the ones that were saying, hey, watch out for this. Oh, it's all fake and all this. Now he's like, look, just if we're going to do this, we got to get it done. Let's do this right. And you need to lean in on your values of who you are as a person and make sure you do know what you're doing and know it. Hold on. I'm so sorry. CK, I love you. I haven't seen your name. I look forward to connecting with you. Let's make sure to get something on the schedule this week. I just need a CK moment. You are an inspiration, and I just wanted to make sure I say hi. Hi. See, great day to you, Brandon Croucher. Aw. So like I say that free hugs for all. We're all getting the polar bear plunge, which is a free hug from Brian Tracy, and I look forward to my free hug. He's going to run around the United States wearing a shirt that says polar bear hugs. I love this idea. Please. I think we should save the polar bears.
Free hugs, and they should be free.
Yes, free. They should. Well, they should be free, but if we can charge 50 cents a hug, I think
feed homeless people.
Bingo. Actually, that's funny you say that. What if we did do that as a community? How do you bring that? We have the Patreon, which, by the way, we're going to get into later this week. And I would love to see us take it where, hey, you donate $10, Bob's going to go buy $10 of socks to go take to a homeless shelter. You go donate $50, Bob's going to go buy a meal for a homeless person and video it, and we send it to you. Things like that. I think that would be an amazing way of connecting with people, breaking barriers, and showing a community that really wants to give the best.
I actually saw something on the internet now in the week where a guy from South Africa was talking to a guy from America, and they were talking about money, and the guy said, well, if you put $10 into my account, it's 150 Rand. And the guy says, what can you buy for 150 Rand or 1,500 Rand or something like that? And he said, this is what I can buy. This to show you, we'll buy McDonald's. And they bought a whole boot full of McDonald's for, I think, I must just go and look for it. I'll show you for a couple of dollars. He bought like a whole boot full of McDonald's, and he said, because now you give it to the homeless people, and he paid extra money in for the South African guy as a bonus and said, yeah, it's extra money. Because the Rand to dollar exchange, it's about, I think, 16 Rand to $1.
Wow. Yes. That is a big difference. That means you're able to think about it. I remember when I was young, because we're about the same age, okay? And I remember going on my first date at 16 years old, and I was at $20 in my pocket, US dollars, and I felt like a billionaire. I went out, I filled my gas tank up, I was able to go to the movies with her, and then we turned around and even bought a popcorn with $20. Today, I couldn't even go to the movies with just $20. And the cost of inflation has just gone up astronomically. And it's one of those things where we're seeing this happen more and more. And then you go to another country like South Africa. And if I was to send you $10, you could buy an entire table full of McDonald's food. But to do
yes. Or I can for $10. Yes, $10 is 1,500 rand. So you can buy a shitload of McDonald's.
Really?
Yes, and you can feed homeless people. Yeah, I must go look for the post. I saw it somewhere, and then I'll link it into the group, and then you can see. I mean, I think that is a very good idea as well, because we're struggling in South Africa not struggling, everybody can help, but if we can help some South Africans as well with this, it would be amazing. I mean,
yes, and that's the point of this, is like I like to help people. I know I have a lot going on, and I'm always someone that's going 100 miles an hour. Somebody's calling me from Nebraska right now. It's the first time I've gotten a Nebraska call in a while. Like, my phone just like lit up, and I'm like, I have no idea who this is. Should I answer on air and see who it is?
I think you should, yes.
No, because it might be a bill collector, so let's avoid that.
But then you just tell them you're not available. I know those. You just say, oops, sorry, wrong number.
I don't know you anymore. I'm sorry. I'll just have you talk. Oh, no, I'm not Brandon. I'm in South Africa. This is Elsa. And they'll be like, who?
I'll just start. I'll start speaking Afrikaans to them, because they'll go like, "What?"
They'll be like, we dialed the wrong number.
Brandon is ongelukkig nie hier vandag nie.
See?
I think they will put down the phone very quickly.
All of a sudden, they're like, yeah. That's funny. This actually cracks me up. Bob's interviewing for Hot Babe Hugs for a friend. Bob is. I think Bob deserves his own like hug thing. So we have the polar bear hug with Brian Tracy. I think we need a like Bob thing, because he's out there trying to spread positivity. And Bob is a retired vet. Like, he was a part of the U.S. Army, I believe. If I'm wrong, Brian, tell me. That way I don't offend anybody. And Bob is just an amazing soul. And there's so many of us on this that are commenting, that are trying to leave the world a better place. There are so many.
That's what we're here for.
Bingo. CK, that was you? You're calling me from Nebraska? Call back right now. I'll answer. But like, I'm looking at this. Oh my God. It's the dressmaker Brandon. Oh, wait. How did he do that? It's the dressmaker Brandon. Your prom dress is ready. You know what? Don't tempt me. I would be 100% more than happy to bring it. Like, I know how to dress nice. No, it's Mr. Bob calling from the. Oh, I wonder if it was Bob. Bob, if it was you, call back. What about a lucky Mandy hug? Ooh, that's a good one. Because Mandy does try to bring the good luck. Like, Mandy's always bringing positivity when she can. And like, Mandy's gone through a really tough COVID, and we've seen her pull herself out of a dark place, from divorce to separation to like just so many things.
Mandy, this is for you. I know what it feels like.
Cheers.
You're a goddess.
How do you say cheers in African?
Cheers. No, we lazy. We just took one of your words. Oh, it's South African.
Yeah.
No, I can't remember, because I don't drink, so I don't usually cheers. Yes, I don't drink alcohol. So.
Cheers it is.
Yeah, we also go like cheers. Yeah.
No, that's good. If it was some cool word like, I'd be like, yes.
We're not Vikings. We're Boers. Boers. Have you ever Boers?
In Sweden, we say vise skål. That sounds really inappropriate.
Is it skål?
Skål? Well, the A has the thing over it, so it's
yes. How do you pronounce that?
We're gonna have to have her teach us. I want to learn. We talked about this. My parents' dog is literally like 100 years old right now, the one that's still here, and he does not like when I'm on air. So he walks around the deck or my desk the whole time, and he literally almost just knocked over my entire light system, and it would have gone
Does he
through the
want
window.
attention? Is that why he's doing it?
No joke, it would have fallen out the window. And I would have laughed my ass off and been like, that's the show. You're doing the interview because I have to go figure out how I'm going to fix this.
No, doggy, please.
We said it perfectly. So
wow.
All right, ready? So for Mandy and everybody out there that gets cheers today, we say cheers and we say vise skål.
Skål.
Yes. So perfecto. Salute. We're learning so much today. Janir. Janir. That one sounds like I could say it wrong and I get myself in trouble, and I'm not going to do that. So, guys, we are here this morning spreading positivity. How do you spread positivity? How do you bring your best you forwards? Because I'll be honest, yesterday, excuse me, Ilsa and I were on here, and she literally made my morning by just being herself and smiling and being positive. I had a horrible weekend, and I'm not going to reinvest into that because it's a negative energy that I don't need to bring back into my life. So how do you, in that mindset of dark negativity, and you want to you're not feeling the cheers, you're not feeling a love, and you can't hug anybody, how do you get yourself out of it? For me, I volunteer. I go places. I do things for others. But the problem is when you do that too much, you let go of yourself. And
you do.
I'm 38 years old, and I know I do that to a fault. I would rather see everybody else happy before myself. And I'm trying to build a better person out of Brandon. And that is and I'm going to use my F word early, fucking hard thing to do. And
did you have a rough COVID? If I may ask, did the COVID affect you a lot?
So yes,
mentally.
So I'm mentally I have bipolar disorder, so I know what it's like to have ups and downs. So I hate him so much. He goes, "You're 38? Wow!"
I'm 39, so can I?
Yeah, you get to do two. Fix. But I didn't have a bad COVID. I truly can say that. I was very, very, very grateful for where I was staying. I was with somebody that wanted the best for both of us. While in lockdown, we were able to communicate, and we realized that we both needed a lot of new things. I saw friend upon coworker upon friend fade away, and that's not a bad thing. It ended up being the people that were meant to be in my life stayed. And the people that are new to my life, you, Ilsa, Mike being a best friend of mine, Mandy coming in and sending me messages, to Lena teaching me how to swear in Swedish. All of these are things that I can take as pride, and that's what I do. So for me, I wouldn't say you two are still spring chickens.
Thank you, Mandy.
Yeah. This is a good one. You had some ego in your eyes, but yeah, you're the good kind of 39. I felt that's what it needed to be read like. But I sit here and I talk with Ilsa, and I make sure
I'm gonna laugh every time you do that.
But I'm grateful for COVID because the boundaries I didn't know how to put in myself were being shown to me by the universe, and I had to learn how to rebalance. So it's one of these things. Swearing in Swedish is the name of my new band. Can you imagine that? I just have fun with that. But I'm grateful because if I didn't have a rough COVID, I wouldn't have been able to build from the dark place I was in into being me. and I wouldn't have started this network. I started my company of Delight Cafe CBD, and when it started, I literally was running into a wall because COVID opened up like a week after. Like, and it was one of these things where how do you go and tell people about something that they already have a negative mindset of, and teach them something about a
Yes.
positive they can have in their life? Like, people don't want to hear that, especially when everything around them
Sometimes
is
I
so
think
negative.
people like complaining. Sometimes I
Yes.
think people like complaining because if you're not happy with something, change it. And I think a lot of us went through that change in COVID. I had exactly the same. The 4th of June, my best friend passed away, but not from COVID. He passed away.
You don't have to tell us if you don't want to bring it back up.
No, he was a young guy. He went to bed and he just never woke up again. And he was my best friend. We spoke to each other almost every day. And that gave me such a awakening that how short life is. And I went through a lot during the COVID with also people fading out of my life.
Mhm.
With my family, I only see my children. I do not see anybody else. I don't have any I've got family in South Africa, but I do not speak to them, and for personal reasons, because I had a lot of childhood trauma I never dealt with. And at the age of 36, everything just fucked out. If I
No,
can
you
say
used your first F word. I feel like I should have a buzzer here, like, yeah!
and that's yesterday's one, so I still have one left.
Negotiating already. I love it.
So in any case, so everything went haywire. I decided to get divorced. It was a very, very bad divorce. That's why my youngest daughter doesn't live with me. The custody battle, I just couldn't anymore. Because I know I'm a good person. I know I'm a good mother. And to prove it to people that are toxic, I can't do that. I can't keep doing that. So I had to let go. I had to let go of a lot of things in the past year. So that I feel that's the reason for COVID. That's why when you were telling me about Donald Trump, you don't know how COVID has affected him and why he's doing it. I mean, there's maybe a lot of people that didn't expect him to do it, and now because it's him, he doesn't have the right to say, "Listen, yeah, I want to take the jab," because it's still his choice.
Correct.
Now he gets bullied because he's not doing it in the way that they wanted to do. You can't make everybody happy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You're not going to. You have 3 kids, okay? An ex-husband and yourself. That's 5, right? And the ex-husband counts because he's the father of the kids. That's the only reason I give that. But like, because I know divorce. I understand the.
You can count him out. It's only my 3 kids. Please, my 3 kids and me.
You got it. But with that, it's if you disagree on something, you have 3 other opinions that you have to listen to, and they're your kids, so they have to respect you. But as they grow up, they're forming their opinions. And right now, we're living in a time where the confusion is just rampant, and the anger behind it is even worse. Without going too dark, I was writing yesterday, and something that came over my heart was how at 16 years old, my best friend killed himself. And I was talking to somebody about how the suicide rate for veterans to younger children is on the rise in ways that is just scary. It's higher than the stock market. It's raising so fast. Bless you. And
Thank you.
You're welcome. For me, it was one of these things where that is where we need to be worried. That is what we should be looking at, because it's
People's
16.
mental health. People's
Yeah.
mental health.
How do you take care of your mental health, Elsa?
Yes, sir. I have learned I had to adapt a lot in my life, but I don't have attachment to the outside. I feel that I've got one reasoning, and that's what I'm trying to tell everybody. I've got one reasoning. I do not care in who you believe. When you die, it's
Yeah.
what? There's nothing
It's
you can do. Live your
you.
best life now. Live your best life now, because none of us know if we're right.
Oh,
I have
drop the mic. Preach it.
who says your God is the God? Because there's a higher being. Believe me, there is. You can feel it when you feel unconditional love for yourself and for mankind or humans, and try and see compassion. Your whole view changes. You've got a godly view of the world, and you will do as any God will do and any God preaches, and that is just to love. No God says kill the next God or kill that or kill. And people are taking religion up literally.
Yeah.
It's more about the Bible than what God tells you to do in the Bible.
It's
It's because you're not
100%.
wearing this pants and you do this and your skin is this color and you're this and you're this and you're this. That is why my God won't allow. It's like, dude, who the fuck are you to tell me? I use the other one and I'm done. But that is how
Well,
I feel. Why? You can't force your opinions onto anybody.
no.
You can't. And to try and respect each other and
Yeah.
have personal boundaries and being respectful, it will change a lot if people will start thinking, you know what, this person that is saying this to me might also have a very sad childhood. And this is how they see it. But everybody, I don't know.
No, you're good. Like you're 100% right. I think that it's like religion right now. Like we're all listening to a voice of who is the right voice, and when you start listening to churches, to religion, it is along those lines, because when you think about the separation of church, you have the Catholic, you have the Lutheran, and then you keep breaking it down. You have the Pentecostal, you have Baptist, you have evangelical, and they all have little things that are different. It's not that the Bible changed. It's not that the reading of their book changed or they added or took away a chapter. God is up in their realms. It's their God. And CK, I'm so glad. She and I go into religion, and she is just a phenomenal one when I sit down. She challenges my idea of what religion is.
Oh,
And
I love it. I love it.
she knows I'm a former youth pastor, and now I guess I'd say I'm a little more Buddhist than anything. And it's very different, but it's not. It really isn't. One is about loving yourself and being able to let that flow through you into the energy, and the other is about giving of yourself to something else. And I've spent my whole life giving. I've
I'm
raised
with you
foster
there.
kids. Right? I've spent my whole life giving to everybody else, loving everybody else. But yet last night I'm out at a dinner meeting, and the person across from me, and I shouldn't even say meeting, I was out having dinner with a friend, and we were talking, and it was a very dark conversation because it was a hard one for me. And she asked me point blank, "What do you not like about yourself, Brandon?" And I was like, I don't like me because I feel I have to make everybody else around me happy. I hate me because I think I'm a piece of shit when other people hurt. And that's not a good mindset.
I've disappointed them.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be. It's like today, I'm going to use an example, and this is not me insulting anybody. I know this person is sick, and I know they're going through a lot and everything. But like, I miss seeing like Jessica Dugas. I miss seeing Tokyo Bento in the comments. And in my head, I know they're sick or dealing with something, but I'm telling myself, you pissed them off, Brandon. This is your fault they're not here. And that's not healthy. And that's not how life should be. I wanted to read this, and I left it up here. Yes, God is not rules or regulations. Religion seeks to control the people, whereas the true spirit of God liberates and sets people free to be who they are created to be. I like this. See, Buddha Brandon lives in Budapest this weekend. And everyone is responsible for their own peace, joy, and health. 100. And the reason I bring that up is because we are. And I had a week last week putting a dog down. My one really good buddy, he got bit and he got an infection. Dad doesn't know how to respond to things. He got bit by a dog on his PB. On an area. Yeah, nobody wants to get bitten there. And he got bitten there, 18 stitches.
That's horrible.
Yep. And the poor, like he.
I'm so sorry.
I feel bad for him, and he knows I respect the hell out of him. It do be facto, Brandon. LOL. Just kidding. I don't know what that one means, Brit, but I love you. But like, it's with talking about all of these things. It's about looking inside. It's about finding your you. It's about knowing you. And I think there's so many of us that are spiritually, mentally, and emotionally just drained. We don't even realize that our best us we're putting out is just the one that makes everybody else happy.
That is why you have to start giving to yourself what you give to other people as well. So the love that you give to people, you shouldn't have expectations. That is just, you shouldn't have expectation on anything because we can't control what happens in the future.
So, like, when you say don't have expectations, like, I'm expecting our interview that's coming up. His name's Michael, and I'm going to mess up his last name. Bears? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down, Mike. I see you in the background. Oh, he's writing in the private chat how to say it. Good. I'm going to read his bio because our conversation goes directly towards what he talks about. His name is Michael. I'll get his last name in a second. He is the author of Redefining Success. Psst, Ilsa, get it? This works perfectly into our conversation.
It does. It does.
I love it. The publication is December 21st. It is a book about achieving better happiness, fulfillment, and alignment in life around the things that matter to who? You. The book is the combination of his personal experience and a plethora, yeah, I read that right, a plethora of primary
I don't
interviews.
even know what that means.
A lot, like a ton, whole bunch.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
thanks.
so a whole bunch of primary interviews and extensive scientific literature review. Scientists, and he has a master's in business and an MBA by training, master's in business administration by training. Michael believes that we all need to define what success means for ourselves. Michael has dedicated his career to improving patient outcomes in healthcare sectors. Along the way, he discovered his passion for mentorship, coaching, and striving to help individuals define success for themselves and take tangible steps towards achieving happier, more balanced, and fulfillment in life. No offense, everybody, but if you leave, you're only hurting yourself. Michael's here to influence you. And as Elsa says all the time in South Africa, I love that I get her to smile every time, is we can't change the world until we change ourselves. She is a genius, and we're all listening and learning from her all the time.
Don't listen to that. I'm not a genius.
Yeah, see? Negative. Biarnes. So Michael Biarnes. And am I emphasizing the wrong part? I got a thumbs up. Oh, yes. I love it. So Michael will be on with us in about 12 minutes, 11 and a half. So if you have to go to the bathroom, you need to refill your coffee, you need to get a glass of water, go do it, guys. Elsa and I are going to be here goofing around, making sure we keep bringing positivity, but that way you do not miss our time with Michael and building our best us in ourselves. I'm excited for that one. Are you excited, Elsa? Uh-oh. I think she froze. Uh-oh. Elsa. I might have to bring Michael in early, otherwise I'm going to be talking to myself. Yup, I think I am. Michael, she's not excited. 100%. She's sitting there just staring off and gone. So before I bring you on, I'm going to make sure she doesn't come back, and that way we can bring you in properly, Michael. But I am excited. He has written a book. He is raising funds to be able to have it published. I believe that is correct because he's redefining success, and he is just changing the world around him. And I have to be honest, I stalked his website a little bit. I might have tried to find him and stalk him on LinkedIn just so we could connect and make my LinkedIn look better. But at the end of the day, he is a young guy that is influencing and bringing positivity in a way that the world needs right now. That there is so much happening, and he is trying to find the positivity. I'm going to read a couple quotes here that people said. All this God fairy tale talk is wearing thin. There is no powerful God. There's just you and others we live. Way to really bring it down, Mike. Glad I get to hang out with you later tonight. Maybe I'm gonna just hang out here and send you good vibes. They should all exist to make you better. And honestly, great ending, buddy. They all exist and make you better. Do not insult another person's God. Do not look down on another person's God. You should be looking at everybody equally. I love it. If I'm not here because you pissed me off, I pissed her off. I love it. She's apparently, guys, Brat. I've apparently been bratty enough that Brit left, and she's now mad at me. I'm sure my Facebook is going to get messages later. Brian Tracy says he needs a hot cup of sleep. I'm glad he wrote the word sleep. And then from here is CK Ford. She says, when we can simply hold space for people, yet not take guilt because they are not able to give all that someone else requires, be sure that everyone has needs. Yet not everyone can be hostage in others' expectations. Give what you can without giving yourself dry. And honestly, that's a great way of looking at it. You're always going to be filling other people's cups up, but if you don't take a moment to make sure that you fill you up, you can't help others. You can't bless others. You can't influence others. And I 100% believe that is correct. And I'm very grateful for people like CK, Brandy, or Brian, Mandy, Brat, all these people that are chiming in. Jessica Dugas, you bring me a smile every post you make, even if it's annoying. And the truth is, you're an amazing individual, and I'm grateful to have you in my life. I know it was a joke. Jeesh. See, look at Brat sending me these mean messages and comments on here. Brian Tracy needs a cup of sleep. So, guys, while Ilsa, because I want to call her Ilsa, but she said, no, it's like you're ill, Ilsa. And so I emphasize that is the Ilsa because now I remember being ill. And it makes her laugh, which is the most fun for me. She is going to be coming back in a few minutes, I guess. Brian Tracy, I know you're watching. Reach out, make sure she's okay. But I'm going to actually bring in Michael a few minutes early if I get the thumbs up from him. Awesome. And we're going to make sure we start this conversation because he is going to bring us a wealth of knowledge about leadership, loving ourselves, and all about his book. So, guys, do me a favor. I'm going to double check the saying of his name. Welcome, Michael Biarnes, as I fail at everybody's last name. Hello, Michael. It is a pleasure and an honor to have you on this morning. How are you today?
Hello. I am doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. All right. I want to go right off the bat. I'm going to come at you hard, okay? So you are all about achieving happiness, fulfillment, and alignment. Right. How the hell did you find that? Because everybody's looking for that.
Oh, I'm still looking.
You look so young. How are you even able to know what you're looking for? How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 32.
Yeah, at 32, I was owning my restaurants and still figuring out how business works. And that's after kids and everything else. So at 32, you're establishing what that means. What is 32 and happiness and contentment and everything you're writing about? What does that mean?
Yeah, so that is a loaded question. I thought we'd be talking about training sharks like we were earlier.
Do you know how to train a shark how to jump through a hoop? Because that can go right that way.
No. Yeah, so long story short, I can't define what's going to make you happy. And you can't define what's going to make me happy. And what I have found in my journey, and I'm happy to share, the past few years has definitely been a journey for me. But all I found is that unless you're living a life that is truly aligned with your own priorities and what you actually care about, you can attain all the wealth, you can attain everything that you think you want, and it's going to be hollow and it's going to be transient. To get that long-term happiness, fulfillment, you got to be living a life that is authentic to you and your values.
So I want to ask this in a way. You've been watching the show, obviously, today, and I'm so grateful. With that, you might not train sharks, but at the end of the day, happiness is what you make of it. And how easy it is that we let others influence our happiness. I'm sure you've had experiences like that. How can you keep yourself going in a balanced mindset without letting others influence you to tip you over into that anxiety or anger?
Yeah, so it's hard. And you have to remind yourself every day, right? Your journey is yours and yours alone. And, you know, we love to play that comparison game. And
Yes.
It's toxic. That is a toxic mentality, right? Like, so in writing my book, I've done all sorts of research. 12% of all of our thoughts are comparative in nature.
Really? That seems kind of high.
You would think so. But when you look at someone and you say, oh, look at that person's shirt or look at their shoes, indirectly, you're thinking to yourself, oh, that shirt's better than my shirt. Or those shoes are better than my shoes. Or you see a LinkedIn post, right? And someone just got a fancy new promotion and you're happy and you post congratulations, but deep down, you're also saying, well, why did I not get that promotion?
Right.
And it's super toxic. And so there's a few things that we can do around that. And the first and foremost that I love to highlight is gratitude, right? Like, it's so easy to focus on the things we don't have and the things that we want. And we often forget all the things we do have and all the positive things we have in life. And, you know, we often get caught up in the day-to-day and striving for that new goal, whatever that might be for you or for me. And, you know, life's pretty good usually. You usually have a lot to be grateful for. And there's always things you can want and aspire to be. But, you know, that take a tangible step towards that and appreciate what you have today.
I 100% love that. Do you wake up every day and like I picture you now, like you are like my spirit animal, even though I'm a lot older than you apparently. And the crowd seems to love to tell me how old I am because they know I'm getting closer to that 40 mark. But like, do you have like a gratitude journal just sitting next to the bed? Like, how do you start the gratitude? Because it's very easy for everybody to be like, oh, I'm grateful for the sunshine today because we never have sun. I'm grateful for my dog sleeping and not barking. Like, there's those, and I don't want to say passive gratefulness, but it's almost like you're giving it just because you know you're supposed to. Right. True gratefulness is something that you're breaking yourself from a cycle. You're finding true genuineness. Like, I love to look, I wear bright colors because I love how I look in certain colors. And I see myself on this camera and I have to be like, I'm grateful that I'm able to be myself. And that's something that is a true, genuine one. But how do you start with gratefulness? Do you like dive into a daily journal? Do you go online and just write, I'm grateful for Facebook? Like, how do you do this? Nobody writes that, by the way.
No, first, I just want to commend you. I love that you're wearing bright colors, right? Like, I did the same thing in my last office. Everyone loves to wear, you know, dark shades, blue. That's it. And I had my orange shirts and my yellow shirts and you name it. And it just brings some positivity into the office. For me, I can tell you, so one thing that my wife and I actually started way back when with COVID, where it was very gloom and doom and the world was ending, was actually a gratitude box. So it is a physical box. It's just a shoe box, nothing fancy. And on it, we wrote thankful. And literally every day we would write down on little slips of paper what we were grateful for. And if it was something great and huge, fantastic, it made it into the box. And if it was something small, like, you know, we had a very positive interaction with someone or we got to catch up with a close friend, that made it into the box too. And then on a regular interval, so we decided at first every month, at the end of the month, we would go in and literally read all these slips of paper. I won't lie, sometimes we also go in when we're just having a down day. We're like, oh, look at all these things that happened in the last week that are just awesome. And there's a lot of research to show that simply writing it down, even if it's something you're forcing yourself to do, right? Like you talked about a gratitude journal, even simply saying it out loud, going through the motions of saying it. There are so many positive effects and second order effects to that. And, you know, you're going to have your high and your low days, but simply going through the motion of reminding yourself what you're grateful for, super powerful.
Yeah. So at 32 years old, that is a very profound statement, honestly. And I'm not that much older than you. You can almost touch my age. Like, that's how close we are. Oh, hey, buddy. Oh, I went the wrong way. Oh.
Yeah.
So that being said, what made you want to write a book about this? I asked because that grateful box is something that, like, my niece is 9 and she started a swear jar. And I think they started this to take all my money because I swear, by the way, you get one F word and all the rest are free game. I just ask that you don't like go Eminem on us and be like, F this, you know, like all of a sudden. But like, she started this and she's trying it's to learn what words are good and bad as parents do with their kids. And I think a gratitude box, a thankful box, however you want to write it, I think that's a great thing. And it teaches people at a very young age to look at things outside the box and putting it into a new realm.
Right.
How did you and your wife do this? And then what made you want to write this book?
Yeah. So my wife and I'll start with the first question. We, like most people, were struggling with COVID, right? We were trapped in our little condo. We don't have much space, right? We were fortunate. We have a dog, so at least we had some entertainment. But otherwise, we felt fairly isolated from the world. And, you know, we couldn't even go grocery shopping. We couldn't do anything that was normal in life. And so we decided we needed a pick-me-up. We needed to do something. And so the Grateful Box just came out, and we had to go and start that. And I'm glad we did, because we keep it up to this day, even though, at least in the States, as you guys were talking about earlier, things are opening back up a bit and get to see some friends, which is awesome.
What state are you in, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm in Virginia, outside of
You're
Washington, D.C. Yeah.
I have a meeting with someone in Virginia later this week. So
Nice.
like a video conference, nothing.
Okay.
Not like I'm driving or flying out there. It would be nice though. But that's cool. How is Virginia treating COVID? I really have no idea. How, like, state to state is different.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, in Ohio, I'm in Cleveland. But if you go one county over to Lake County, which is a small county, the laws and regulations are completely different. And then if you go down a county, it's like you're petrified to walk around without a mask. Like it's such a different world, county to county, state to state. How is Virginia treating this?
Yeah, so I can't speak for the whole state, but Northern Virginia has done a pretty good job of vaccinations. I know that's a touchy subject. You guys touched on that earlier, so we don't have to dive into that if you don't want to. But I think with the vaccination rates that as they are here, things have opened up quite a bit. So, you know, indoor dining's back. You know, I think there are some places where people still feel a little gross, which is funny because, like, the food store is a place where you figure that's the stuff we eat, but that's where you see most people with masks. But yeah, it's pretty open right now.
Okay.
And, you know,
what would you
preference.
say? What would you say is the most grateful thing you're for? What is it the thing you're most grateful for through COVID?
So it's got to be my wife. She's my rock. She's my biggest fan, my supporter. She's been my sugar mama. I just finished my MBA, so she was working and I was a student full time. So yeah, my wife is she's awesome.
My sugar mama. I love
That's
that
right.
you said that. That's awesome. Now, do you have kids?
No kids, just the dog who we spoil rotten. We treat him like a kid.
Good. That is the best form of kid. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't talk back. Like, it doesn't have to learn like that.
Yeah.
Now, I say all this and have fun with you because you have a great energy, like right off the bat. With this book, how are you hoping it influences the world? How are you hoping to really make your impact? Because nobody writes a book just to like get something off their chest. They write the books. They really do have something they feel they need to say. How do you see this influencing the world?
Yeah, so maybe I'll start with the inspiration story, why I decided to even start this thing. So, you know, it's not an F-bomb, but I affectionately call what I went through an oh shit moment. We all have those in life, and they strike us from time to time. So my father passed away in 2018, and
Sorry.
oh, thank you. But it really made me reflect on what the hell I was doing with my life, and more importantly, why I was doing the things that I was doing. So like a lot of people in their 20s, I wanted to rule the world and make all the money and have all the power. And I very quickly was commuting 2 hours a day and was working a ton and, kind of going through the motions.
Mm-hmm.
And so this oh shit moment of mine made me really reflect, and I needed to push pause on life. And so I decided to be productive, and I went back to school and decided to be a student and give that a go, because I figured it would be helpful in my career and be productive while I got my shit together. And along the way, I started reading and researching, and I had some really great mentors and professors that made me reflect on, simple exercises like what do you want your legacy to be?
I love that.
It's a pretty profound question. And, you can say something simple like, I want to be a good person, or, you can take time. And I wrote, 4 pages of what my legacy to be in different facets of life. And, it really made an impact. And then to the book, I started talking to my peers. I actually started working in the Career Center as an advisor. And the thing I love talking to students about was career clarification. So what do I want to be when I grow up, right? And why? More importantly, I always like to ask, why do I want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that everyone has the same thoughts that I do, which is, why the hell am I doing what I'm doing? Even though I have some accomplishments in my career, like, that's not bringing me the happiness and the fulfillment that I thought. And every time I get a promotion, I'm like, great. For like 3 seconds, I celebrate. And then I'm like, crap. Like, now I just need to get that next promotion. And what does that mean for me? So it was about fulfillment. It was about legacy. It was about helping others through these kinds of moments in life and help them reflect and live a life that's better aligned with what they actually care about. And it's really easy to view success. And this is why the title is Redefining Success. Success is not just what you do for your career, right?
Right.
Success encapsulates every facet of your life, right? You can't, no matter how successful you are in your career, if you're unhealthy or if you're unhappy or if you're not treating your family the right way or your friends, or you're not involved with the community the way you want to be, or, we all have financial responsibilities. If you're not able to meet those, the list goes on and on and on. And I talk about all these things in my book. I don't think that's success. I don't think just because you make all the money in the world or you have all the fame or all the power, that's successful. And we see so many examples, lottery winners, 75% of lottery winners are bankrupt within 5 years. Just like a crazy amount, right?
That is a really insane thing to think about. Like, insane.
And so everyone thinks that like more money will bring happiness. But the people who are literally just handed a bulk of cash and be like, here, go be happy, they spend it all in 5 years and then they're bankrupt or they're miserable or they go through all these terrible things. So, I think why is a very important question. Why you do the things you do and what you actually care about.
So I laugh at this comment because I know Stuart has kids and he's older than me, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean he's more mature. He says he still doesn't know what he wants to do when he grows up, and I can say that there's a lot of us that I think feel that way. That first step is knowing who you are, but like, how do you get grounded to do that? Because I say that as someone who owns his own businesses and has run, you don't even want to know how many events. Like, I love to connect with people, and I'm an extrovert that's a huge introvert. And when I think of what does Brandon want, it makes it really challenging. And I need to have that moment of like that sit down, write it out, like you said. And I have 2 master's degrees. I've done that before, but it's changed since then. Yeah. It's a totally different mindset that what I'm in now from where I was. But like, what would you recommend? So let's say I hired you, and you're just giving me as a basic example. You don't have to use me, but like, you still want to know how would I know what I want to be when I grow up? That first thing you would tell me, Brandon, you're effing up. This is what you need to do. How do you tell people that as a coach?
Yeah. So first, I think we got to dispel that notion, right? Like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, right? And I think the reality of today's society is you no longer have this culture of being in the same job for 40 years, and that's your profession, and you're just going to keep working up the ladder, and that's what you do. The latest statistic, at least in the United States, is the median amount of time spent at a company for any worker in the United States is like 3.5 years. 3.5 years. That means you are changing what you do for a living. Now, I'm not saying you're changing your job function and all that necessarily, but there's change is a reality. Innovation is everywhere, right?
Right.
And the reality of the situation is what we want and what we care about, our true North Star of what gets us out of bed in the morning, changes as we mature, as we develop, as we go through these growth processes, and we learn what excites us today won't necessarily excite us tomorrow. So unfortunately, our job is never done. And what we can do is figure out why we do the things that we do, what motivates us, right? So I would bet you, being the social person that you are and loving to communicate, connect with people, your jobs and your businesses foster that kind of behavior. And they get you to do that. And what you sell or what you do, well, that can change. But as long as you're connecting with people and that's driving your motivation, I'd say you're probably going to be happy in what you're doing. And, your what could change, or what you're selling could change, or your business could change, but that's okay. As long as the day-to-day is bringing you joy and happiness, I'd say it's bringing you success.
I love how you phrase that, because it's about knowing each day as itself, like living in the moment. You have it on your website, it says alignment. With alignment, that could mean I make the joke of going to a chiropractor and getting snapped back into alignment. But the truth is, being aligned is something that requires a daily work as well. It's very easy. So let's use the morning. I wake up, and instead of getting ready for the show and stuff like that, I could easily be unaligned and start diving into inappropriate things on social media, getting into debates with people and all this. That alignment thing is something that I think is a very challenging thing as well. How does one make sure they're staying in their alignment?
Yeah. So there's the last chapter of my book actually is a framework. It's an exercise that I encourage everyone to do. Even if you don't want to buy my book, that's okay. I still encourage you to do it. And it's this idea of a life plan, right? If you forget about, what you've done to date, if you could design your life today, what would that look like? What's your ideal? And I want you to do that in different facets. So you're going to say, okay, what's my ideal for my career? And you're going to look at that in a box singularly. What do I want my career to look like? And then you're going to do the same thing. You say, okay, what's my family life look like? You do the same thing. And what's my social life look like? How often do I see friends? How about fun? What kinds of fun activities am I doing? Am I doing vacations? Am I doing activities? Am I playing sports? What am I doing? Community. Am I volunteering? Am I getting involved with the church, faith, whatever? Finances. When do you want to retire? Do you want to retire? Is that something that's on your horizon? Do you want to have kids, right? That factors into finances too, right? Do you want to have 10 dogs? That factors in, right? Anyway, you go through this list and you think of each one individually. And I bet you that if you then read it out loud to yourself, you're going to notice there's inconsistencies, right? If you want to be a CEO billionaire, but you want to be at home at 5 every day to tuck your kids in at night, and you want to play sports, and you want to see friends, and you want to travel the world, it's impossible. And so Correct. To me, what alignment means is, all right, understand your goals in each, but then now understanding the bigger picture of who you are as an individual. How do they all rank according to one another? And what do you truly prioritize in your life? Because in the end, you can't have necessarily everything, but what you can do is make sure that your life and the way you spend your time and your effort and your energy aligns with things that you actually care about.
Actually, Mandy brings up a great thing here, because thank you for that. She says the past has been gone, the future is yet to happen. Focus on the here and now, called present. Excuse me. It's called present for a reason.
Yep.
And how about people who get stuck in the past or are only focused on the future and they're not really doing that? What would you say to somebody to realign them instead of just looking at their past or their future to help rebalance, realign, restructure, so that way they can get back onto their alignment and the path of who they're meant to be?
Yeah. Well, I love that comment. That was, very fitting. But yeah, the past most certainly is gone, and there's nothing we can do to change it. And there was actually a post, there's like a meme where we beat ourselves up over all of our past decisions all the time, right? We could have a day where we do 99.9% of the things right. We say all the right things. We do the right things. We're super kind to people. And then we have one negative comment where we're like, I don't feel good about that. And we kick our own asses and just beat ourselves up about that one comment. We had such a good day. And it's that one comment that destroys everything. So, that's a microcosm for the rest of your life, but you can't do anything to change the past. But what you can do is affect the future. To those people that are only focused on the future, those folks are probably focused on a specific goal, right? Like, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to get this title, or usually has something tangible, some tangible good, right? I want to own this car. And what the research shows is those tangible things, reaching a goal like that brings very, very fleeting happiness. There's something in psychology, positive psychology, called hedonic adaptation.
Say that again, please.
Hedonic adaptation. So hedonism, right? Like debauchery, having fun, loving life, right? All that great stuff. Part of the happiness equation, dating all the way back to Aristotle. And what it means is those things that bring us happiness and joy, we get used to, right? We no longer appreciate them for what they are. We're no longer grateful for them. We don't show gratitude. And we're like, all right, what's next? And so the point of that is, you might say, okay, I want this amazing house. And then you move to that house. And after a month, you're like, oh, I'm just living in my house. This is it, right? Same thing with a car. What really matters is how you got there. And that's where living in alignment. If you're living in alignment and your goal is to get this car, that means every day you are enjoying yourself. You're bringing happiness to yourself. And the fruits of that happiness and all that hard work will bring you the tangible stuff. But that tangible stuff by itself, which is what most people think of when they're thinking for the future, that's not going to do it on its own.
Now, as an individual who's been doing this for a while yourself, what has been some of the struggles you've had that people probably aren't going to realize they're going to run into, and these hurdles they're going to have to jump, and the Olympic Games we're playing in our life? I use that because it fits right now, but
yeah, for sure.
Like, there's so many, and everybody's just going to be different. I know you're going to say that, but like, there are challenges that are going to come up. There's going to be, I'm going to use postpartum. There's going to be seasonal depression, where all of a sudden it kicks in and you don't want to wake up and do what you need to do, what you know is best. There's going to be that one comment that you stick on. I think of events I've run, and you get 5-star review, 5-star review, 5-star review, 3-star review, and it's somebody that's mad that the ATMs were in the wrong spot, which is a very petty thing. But then you focus on just that 3-star review, like you said.
Yeah.
How do you make sure to break from these things? Make sure to stay Michael, as I say.
Yeah. So that's the challenge. And, no matter how much research I've done, and no matter how much I reflect on my like, oh shit moment and my journey and all the positive things in life, like I still do it, right? We still do it.
Oh,
and I still look at people and I'm like, I'm jealous. They just did this, they're that. They look at that person's house. They got a swimming pool. Like,
bastard.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But I think it's awareness that you're doing that, because it's natural. You're going to do it. No matter what you do, no matter how much you reflect, no matter how mindful you are, There are a few tools that I like to use. So the first is like when I'm beating myself up about a decision I made or something I said, a good question I like to ask myself is like, all right, will I actually care about this or even remember about this 5 years from now? The answer is probably no. And you can even ask, will the other person care about this if I hurt someone? Probably not. It depends what you did, of course. And then, there's all sorts of things you can do and say, but most of the time, the things we beat ourselves up about are really trivial. And as long as we remind ourselves that in the long run, we probably won't care. It's okay. Another good question that actually came from one of the people I interviewed in my book, Yannick Silver. He asked himself, if I make it to 111 years old, what would I think about myself today?
I never thought of that.
And so it's just another way to frame the legacy question, right? Like, would you be happy with the life you lived if you look back and you're like, all right, these are the decisions I made today. Am I happy? Well, maybe not, but tomorrow's another day. And let's get it one step closer. It doesn't have to be a massive change, but let's take one step closer. And, one thing that is really encouraging to me is all this talk of this great resignation because of COVID, right? Like we have all these articles coming out saying like 40% of the workforce are considering making a change. And I think it's because COVID has forced people to reflect and realize I need fulfillment. I need happiness. I need balance in my life. And, I'm not encouraging everyone to go quit their jobs tomorrow, but if you can take small, tangible steps to get a life that will be better aligned, bring you happiness, bring you fulfillment, do it. Go crazy. Like it's about time.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to bring your book in for everybody, and I'm going to ask just a side question. We'll come back to this heavy conversation in a second. But what are you reading right now?
So all this talk of why, I'm actually starting with the book. I'm reading the book Start With Why by Simon Sinek. Not sure if you're familiar.
I'm not. No.
So fantastic book. He talks about different companies, leaders, and individuals and how they've set up it's a career-driven book, but how they've set themselves up. And again, it goes back to if you have a very clear vision of what your why is, right? So I want to help people be the best versions of themselves. So that's my why. The what I do can change, and it will change over time. So the what I do is, for my full-time gig, like I still work in the healthcare sector. I want to improve patient outcomes. If you're sick, if you're struggling, you're not living your best life. So that's very much aligned with my why. Similarly, with my coaching, with this book, I'm trying to help people emotionally with live a happier life, right? Be better in aligned and fulfilled in what you're doing. So again, very much aligns with my why of let's help people live the best versions of their own lives. So the what doesn't matter as much as the why. So I'm very grounded in my why. How I do it, it's just a reflection of the what I'm doing at the current present moment. But what I'm doing, how I'm doing it could change. But my why, the thing that gets me out of bed, is I want to help people be the best versions of themselves.
I love that. This is just me thinking. See, now Stuart's going to debate you. Don't ask yourself why. Ask yourself how. I think that could be a frame in a different way, where it's like you should be asking, well, why am I doing this? And then if it's not making you happy, how is it going to be able to align with you? Or how does it align? And honestly, I look at that and I think of myself as I remember when I was in school, and I'm using this example of myself because I can pick on me and I know me and you're welcome to make fun of me. But I remember in school, I was always the kid who couldn't sit still. Surprise! I was always the kid who was ADHD and needed to be doing things and standing. College was not something they ever thought of for me, like for real. He's too rambunctious. He's not going to be able to sit through the class. I hated reading at the time. Hated reading. But I say that to say I knew I needed a college degree. And I knew if I didn't have one, I was going to be disappointing my parents by not getting one. And that happiness was for them. And I just think of the fact that when I sit back and I want to align myself, I look at how many things I did to make others happy, like that college example, and how many times we do that. And we give and give to everybody else's happiness so they think better of us.
Yep.
And I that's a boundaries thing for me. I want to see them happy and proud of me, and that'll make me feel proud. But the truth is that college degree, I didn't even walk at graduation because I was more focused on being out and doing other things. And I knew I was getting a master's right after it. So I was like, oh, I'll walk at that, but even as I walked in my master's, I wasn't proud of me. In my head, I was thinking back to that third grade teacher that was like, if you don't learn to sit still, you're just going to be dumb your whole life. And like, that was in front of a whole class of embarrassment. And I sat there, and that proud moment I should have had, I didn't have. I had the, yeah, look at me now moment. And that's not what it should have been. And I think of that and how, as an individual, because there's so many of us that do things like that, from little things to playing sports. I got out of acting and theater club to go do sports, so my dad would like play with me and throw a ball with me. And I didn't realize that till later in life. And I look at all these little areas that I gave up other happiness to make others happy and connect with them. And then later in life, I'm seeing it come back around. And I'm now readapting who I am to make a better version of Brandon. So with that, when you stop and you sit and ask yourself, what do I need? What am I doing to build the best Michael, to build the best Brandon, to build the best Elsa? She's watching, her internet's having problems. I got a message from her. But I think the biggest question is for me in this moment of questioning, when you're looking at everything, who did you do that for to make yourself happy? That moment of happiness. You act like you were a thespian. I'm so sorry. That was a good one. Thank you. Hey, in 7th grade, I was the president of my thespian club, and it lasted 3 months, and then we had a new election, and it had nothing to do with me. It just was the way the school worked. But like, I look at this and I say, I've done so many things that I've made others happy. And to rebalance that and find my happiness has been a challenge. And I look at all these things and I say, what did you do in your life that other people here you are proud of? But what are you doing to make you proud? And Michael, you have an MBA. That's something I bet you're proud of that. And I bet you love it. What are you doing to help be able to make people don't break that in themselves? They don't look at themselves and hold on to these past triumphs to today.
Yeah. So I empathize with you. I actually, talking about the MBA, I went and did my MBA for the same thing, right? For the same exact reason. I knew I wanted one eventually, but I was doing it so that when others looked at me, they said, oh, he's doing something productive. Oh, that'll be awesome for him. And admittedly, it was the wrong reason to go get a degree. And
expensive.
And expensive. That said, because I knew it was something I'd been thinking about for such a long time, it also aligned with me. But the timing was purely because of everyone else. I'm not going to lie. Otherwise, I likely should have just taken a year or two to figure out who I was and what I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. So, I get that. I get that feeling a lot. That said, it's not mutually exclusive, right? Just because others are proud of you doesn't mean you can't be proud of yourself as well. And to your point, I think the MBA is going to afford me some opportunities to do some good in this world that probably weren't available to me before. And I met some awesome people along the way, and I'm really thankful for that. So it goes back to the why, right? So the why of why you went to the undergrad, you fulfilled this goal. And that's what we just talked about. Yeah. And it didn't bring you that joy, that happiness. You said, all right, I'm going to go do something else now. And it's because it wasn't for you. It was for other people.
Yeah.
And so I think the happiness comes when you're doing things that work for you and are aligned with you.
And in your bio, you have a section that talks about how we have society defining success. And we're kind of tapping into that a little bit right now. But society does determine success. Like if you were to come on and say you had a PhD, it gives you that like mentality in some people's eyes. Like, oh, this guy's a genius. He's so smart. He does things like that. And you know what? I believe you are, like, in your own way. But society's standards of what is success and what is defining who we are is something that we let influence us. It's like you saying, like, oh, look, they have a pool in their house at their house. Oh, they have nicer clothes. Oh, look at Brandon. He's wearing a donated shirt from the Special Olympics. Wrong side, Brandon. Special Olympics. Like, I look at these things. I see you, Elsa. I'll get right back to you in a second. But, like, it's one of these things that the definition that other people have of us, we let influence us. How do you, and right before I say it, how do you reframe your mind from the societal views of what we're supposed to be us?
Yeah. So I used to work in a lab. I was a scientist. I worked with a ton of PhDs. I can tell you, no one should really be impressed by a PhD. PhDs are wonderful people. They're super, super smart ones, and they're just like every other profession, ones that they just went through the works and they got a PhD. So all this to say, I think that's a good metaphor for everything else, right? A title is just a title. You know, I think what you do is just what you do. I'm much more impressed by how do you come across every day? How do you treat other people? You know, how are you actually embodying life? And if you're treating people like crap and you're stepping people along the way to get to be whatever fancy title you want to be, you know, that's not impressive to me. But you're right. I think that's why, for me, this book was important. I think we all need to redefine success for ourselves and drop those loaded external metrics. You know, money is a metric, power is a metric, how many likes you get on social media is a metric. And yeah, you know, money is it's a proxy, right? If you're doing the things you really love and, you know, you're bringing a lot of good to the world, then yeah, you'll probably make good money and great. But that's not by itself success, in my opinion. It's everything else, like I said, that's holistic. And if you try to live by all of these societal metrics of success, you might accomplish them, you might even attain them. You'll probably be miserable along the way. And I interviewed a lot of people that were able to do that. They reached some very, very impressive accomplishments in their lives. And they ended up giving it all up because they were not happy at all.
I think that's look, Bope, I'm sharing your book again, but I'm sharing it with the Redefining Success link so people can actually support you, because I'm going to, after the show, get my wallet and make sure I click this and support you. You're looking, because I love what you're doing. Like, it's redefining success is essential. You're taking the societal view and saying, I've used my F word today. Forget that. And make sure you find your best self. Oh my gosh, did you interview Apollo Ono?
I did.
Guys, let's go back a step and restart this interview. So I make that a joke, but like with this, it's you interviewed some very, very amazing people. I'm going through this right now. Matthew Berry decided to quit everything and chase happiness to pursue a passion of blogging about fantasy football. You have a lot of very interesting names and people here, and they have huge successes in the eyes of others. If they're not defining themselves as a success, that is a thing that's really transparent there. How do you... Apollo Ono, fastest skater in the world. The dude, was lightning. Why was he not? What was his definition of success? You don't have to give the whole chapter, but I'm curious how an Olympic athlete didn't see themselves as successful, or if they did, and what pushed them to keep going. Tell me about Apollo Ono. Now you have me hooked.
Yeah. So most decorated Olympian in Winter Olympic history. right?
Mm-hmm.
But had to retire and quit everything at the age of 28. He was washed up, right? Like no longer could skate. He couldn't compete anymore. So what now, right? 28, that's pretty young. And
Yeah.
like I said, you can't just sit on your couch all day. That won't bring you any happiness or fulfillment. And so he was lost. And so he, again, at that ripe age, needed to redefine what life meant to him. What were his priorities? What did he want to do? And it took time. I'm not saying redefining success is easy. None of these stories will make it seem like it's easy. It's a journey. It's a challenge. And frankly, our job is never done. But through trial and error, through trying to learn and grow and develop as a human being, he found his new passions, right? So now, yeah, you still see him around the Olympics and he's still part of the Olympic committee. But if you look, the thing that he's really driven by is he is a very, very refined speaker. And he's all about bringing happiness and fulfillment and making people live their best lives. Our messages are very much aligned. So not saying I'm anywhere close to Apollo, but yeah, he's redefined success for himself out of necessity. Others did it by choice.
Did you meet him in person, or was this like over COVID, a video call? And then my other part of that is, how best friends are you with him now?
Yeah, so this was a video call. I leaned into COVID heavily. This book would not have been possible without it. So Matthew Berry, because of the Zoom culture that was born out of COVID, I had a one-on-one interview with Matthew Berry, and it was awesome.
Wow.
I listen to his podcast every day. Apollo Ono, so I think you had John Saunders on a previous episode. We went through the same book writing class. It was actually a small group interview with Apollo where, our professor, if you want to call him a professor, the head of this program was able to bring in Apollo, and we got to sit down and answer questions and hear all about what he's been doing since Olympics. It's awesome.
That is amazing. I don't want to keep talking. Elsa, you're going to have to make sure you yell at me and get your questions in now.
I'm sorry, I missed half, so I don't know what you guys were talking about or what has been asked.
No, you're good. You're good. We've been talking about success and what that means and Michael's book. I know you're just jumping in here and all that, and I catching up, but we've just been defining what success means and how individuals are able to find their best success. Michael is raising money for his book, and he is doing everything to be a positive influence in this world. And I have to be honest. He says, even in his like story, he writes, "I am no guru, far from it, but by sharing the stories of extraordinary individuals, some fascinating research, and my own personal journey, my hope is to give you the cheat code to redefine success for yourself so that you can achieve greater happiness and fulfillment in your own life. Ultimately, it will be your own answers and actions that will enable you to attain true success." Can you tell us what struggles or situations pushed you? I mean, COVID was like a blessing, as you said. You dove into it hard. What situations in your life drove Michael to be like, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to get my master's. I'm going to own a dog and have my wife happy with me. Because I love that you say you had she was your sugar mama. For real, that made me smile so big. But how did you, why should people want to buy your book? To know your success, to know the struggles, that you're not just Michael Bublé and having a great time out there. You're literally building a future that you want to see the best of for everybody.
Yeah. I think if you want to talk about struggles, to me, I hit a really low point, and I talk about my own journey a little bit in the book. But again, I want to highlight everyone else. They're far more impressive than I am. But I hit a real low point after my father passed, and he passed away at 62. Right. So if I only make it to 62, that means I'm already halfway through life. And so I needed to figure out what the hell I was doing and why I was doing it. And I wanted to make sure that if I get 62 years and that's it, well, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of them. And I'm going to make sure that, I prioritize happiness and fulfillment moving forward, because if not, what the hell is all the success for? Like success in quotes, right?
Right.
So, I think the reason why my book could be helpful for folks is, I don't take myself too seriously, as I hope it's come across. And like I said, I'm no guru. I've just gone through a journey and interviewed a bunch of people, and I want to share that with you and hopefully catch you up and propel you past where I am now. And I'm still on this journey, so join me.
How is your? Oh, sorry, Elsa, go! I'll shut up.
Do you feel that the COVID has pushed a lot of people into this, into looking for what makes them happy above a career, a 9 to 5?
Yeah, 100%. Right. So I brought up briefly, in the United States, we have this great resignation on the horizon where they're estimating 40% of people will change jobs in the next year. And it's all because they want balance and happiness and fulfillment, and they're sick and tired of commuting, and they want
Spending so many hours at work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think people are trying to figure it out. Now, again, I'm not pushing people to just quit tomorrow without a plan, but you can take tangible steps and do it responsibly, because we all have responsibilities.
Yeah.
And,
I actually did that.
oh, nice. Well, if you can do it, bravo.
I'm on my notice period at work. I'm finishing on the 31st, pursuing my dream. And I said, can I use another F word? Fuck the economy. I'm just gonna.
That's your
do
third.
what makes me happy. I mean, I'm on tomorrow's F word already.
It happens.
So,
I applaud you, Ilsa.
but now give us some advice. What do I do from here? What steps? Because mine has been working for about 2 years now. So I actually resigned last year, and then my boss didn't want me to go, so they gave me on contract basis for me in time to save money. So by the end of August, hopefully I have enough money to start living what I've been doing up until then. But what advice do you have for the guys?
Yeah. So, I it's interesting you say that I decided to do that and I quit everything, but you did it responsibly, right? Like you planned and you did it a year ago and you've been building. And so I think that's a great way to do it. And, I applaud you for chasing happiness. And you're saying, to drop my F-bomb of the day, fuck everyone else's definition for success. I want to be happy. And
Exactly.
so, good for you. And I think as long as you're living aligned with that, and what's going to be difficult and what's going to be important is that periodically, and I kid you not, I have Google Calendar times blocked off periodically where I force myself to reflect. How has the last few months been? Am I living aligned with what I want to do? Am I being grateful for the things that I have? Because otherwise it's so easy to be caught up in the stress of day-to-day life, all the crap that comes and piles on top of us. And so literally I have Google telling me, hey, time to reflect. Yeah. And if I reflect and I'm not living the way that I should be or that I want to be, then it's what small steps can I be taking to get back on track?
Yeah.
Because you can always realign.
Yeah.
Mandy Atterbury asks, do you know Mr. Greg Barden?
I do not know of Mr. Greg Braden, but maybe I should.
See, I like I said, I mess up last names, and I don't do it on purpose. It's the Starbucks employee in me when I ran the Starbucks. I just messed up names on cups and stuff like that.
I do not want to buy a coffee from Starbucks in America. I cannot even imagine what those people will write on that cup. Gee.
Your name, they would have fun with you. They'd be like, you'd have to say it the way you taught me to say your name. Elsa. They'll be like, yeah. So, Michael, with this next year coming up, your book comes out in December, and I look forward to it. I'm going to be donating to the cause and making sure that I get my autographed copy. That's because I love interviewing authors. what is a book you would recommend everybody should check out? Because there's a lot of people who hate reading. They just don't. It puts them to sleep. It doesn't. It's not their thing.
Yep.
And we here are trying to just introduce people to ways to change their life. And reading is a very big thing that is a good start. It removes you from technology and being in front of a screen, and it makes you be center with you. So what would be a gosh, I have the hiccups with you. I'm blaming Michael on this. I get the hiccups.
It's my fault. It's my fault.
I'm just so nervous around him.
I'm like drinking a 6-pack of beers. That's what it is.
That's exactly how I felt.
Right.
But like, what would be a book you'd recommend everybody start with? Yeah. Everybody keeps wanting to build their best self. That first book before they read yours.
So I really like Start With Why. I already brought that one up, so I won't cheat. I'll give you a different one. One that I call out in my book that I think is fascinating is called Life is in the Transitions. It's by Bruce Feiler. So this guy, like, if I thought I had a no shit moment, his was like 10 times mine. Like, he had cancer and he went bankrupt, and oh my God, he thought he had life figured out, and then life walloped him, as he likes to say. So what he did is he went on his own personal journey, and he interviewed hundreds of people within the United States, all 50 states represented, and he literally documented and codified these people's lives. And what he found was people go through what he calls a disruptor. So something that's going to like mess you up. It could be like a car accident, not like a terrible car accident, but like a car accident. It could be like, someone gets sick or something like that. Not die, but sick. Something that really makes you feel like, oh, this is terrible and I need to deal with this. And, we're pretty good at dealing with those things, but people go through what I call a no shit moment, what he calls a life quake, every 4 or 5 times a year, a lifetime. And it takes 3 to 5 years to figure out life and pick yourself back up after those types of life quakes or oh shit moments. So I found his book fascinating only because, one, it made me feel not alone in my own journey, right? Everyone's going to go through this and needs to be able to wrap their heads around the fact that even if life is really good right now, align your life, redefine success for yourself now so that you're better prepared for one of these moments hits you. But 2, he shares all of the tactics and things that people across cultures, at least in the United States, do to overcome these terrible, terrible times in life. And it's pretty fascinating. One of them is they go through a creative journey, which, I would have fallen into that bucket with this book.
What do you want out of 2021? Like, your book's coming out. You have, what is today? It's what are we in, July? Oh my God!
The 27th already.
You're not allowed to make it worse than it is by telling me the actual date. Thanks, Elsa.
And it's 6:00 in the afternoon already. Tuesday.
For you.
So for
she's
us,
in South Africa.
Yeah.
So it makes it fun. That's
cool.
She's teaching me African off air, and I'm teaching her sign language. It makes it fun.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh yeah. What is a goal Michael has in 2021 other than his book? And then I ask a second question on that. What is his couple's goal? Because you have a wife and all that. That is a building up, because it's not like your goals are just alone anymore. You are married. She's been your sugar mama. And it's one of those things building up together. How do you define those two? And what is your success this year?
Yeah. So you said other than the book. So I want to get this book past the finish line. That's a huge goal for me. Like you said, the pre-orders are going on. You get a signed copy. Even cooler, you get early access to my chapters if you buy it. And I bring you along the journey with me because, this is a big project for me. But along those lines, I'm actually working to get speaking engagements and spread the word. I want to be able to, books are not big money makers. Shocker. But what matters to me is spreading the word and helping people. And if I can speak to people or get on shows, much like your own, and even have a positive impact on one person, then I'm doing good in the world, and that's what I want to do. In terms of a couple's goal, So my wife and I are in the process of hopefully moving, and so our goal is to actually make the move. We'll be closer to family. We'll be closer to some other friends. It will be bittersweet. We have some good friends in the DC area as well, but it's something we're looking forward to, a new chapter. It's been 10 years down in the Washington DC area, so that's a goal of ours.
That is awesome. If you don't mind me asking, where are you moving?
We're trying to make the move out to the Philadelphia area.
I know multiple Philadelphia and Iowa have been the two states or cities, like city and state, that I've been hearing the most of, and it's been fat. Iowa has like one of the highest growing states in the country right now.
Yeah.
And it's really unique. Like it's like I'm reading more and more about it, and I'm like, I don't want to move to Iowa. Like I want Colorado. I want like Oregon, and I don't really want Oregon right now. They legalized all drugs, and I'm sitting there going, that doesn't sound as fun as it sounds.
Yeah.
Ilsa's frozen again. See, she's like,
that doesn't sound very healthy.
No.
Legalizing all drugs, that's not a good idea.
We interviewed somebody from Oregon not too long ago, and he was talking about how they make like heavy drug deals on the street, and the cops don't even notice anything. And he's like, it's just so different, and it's not what you'd expect. So I don't really, Oregon's somewhere I'd visit, but I'm not like thinking I want to move to. But Philadelphia, when you get there, how excited are you to run up the Rocky Steps?
I just wanted to ask, is that where the Rocky movie was made?
Yeah, it's Rocky. There's even a big statue of him by the art museum. So yeah, we'll definitely go and run the Rocky Steps. We go there every year for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I got family up there, so it'll be nice to be closer to home.
Are you thinking about writing another book and interviewing other people that are telling these stories like you did?
Yeah. So what's fascinating is I already have other interviews that I just couldn't fit into the book, and so that's where with these speaking engagements and trying to get on shows, I'm happy to share those. In terms of writing a book, man, oh man, writing a book is a ton of work.
I was just about to ask you, how was that? What challenges did you have writing a book? Because
I don't know how to write a book. Have you ever written a book? Is this your first book?
It's my first book.
And you went okay, I want to write a book. And how did you start?
Yes. So fun fact, I started 2 years on my own and failed miserably. It was terrible. So don't try to write a book on your own. Like all this dramatized thing where people go into the woods and do a log cabin and they come out 2 months later with a finished book. That's crap. That is not the way that books get made. So I found a program with a wonderful community of authors and coaches and lots of frameworks. And so once I joined that and I had some accountability, I had an editor, I just churned away. I vividly remember writing the first 1,200 words. And I was like, they say that an average book is about 35,000 words once it's all said and done. I wrote 1,200 words and I was like, it's not going to happen. No way. This is impossible. It took me hours to write. It's terrible writing. No way. 6 months later, 43,000 words later, lots of edits later, and we have a book.
43,000 words. I wrote my thesis in my master's, and it was something like that. And that was a lot of the amount of work that goes into it. So it's basically you did a second master's writing your book. I'm sorry, Elsa, I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. Now I can't remember what I wanted to say. It's fine.
I'm sorry. I
missed that one.
I'm being told I need to come live with Mandy in England. And I think all right, last question, and then we're doing our 100% fun goodbye. All right. We do a positive goodbye to help everybody keep going through their day. Whether you're in South Africa with Ilsa, or you're in England with Mandy, or you're Brian Tracy in Michigan and having a good time. No matter what, it's having yourself out there and being your best you. So where, other than Philadelphia, would you two want to live anywhere in the world? You get one place, anything in the world.
Go ahead, Elsa. You go first.
I wanted to move to Jamaica, and then they said it wasn't very nice to live there. I just like the accents and I like the beaches. And I heard apparently it's not nice there. So I'll have to go and check and then decide, okay, I want to live here. Can't believe everything you read on the internet.
I love that. I like their accent and the beach. That's why I'm going there. That is perfect. I love it. I
I
love
love
it.
that.
What about you, Michael?
I would love to live somewhere in Europe. I would go to Italy. I've heard like Vienna is amazing. There's a ton of places I'd go live in Europe. You know, I love to travel. I love different cultures. I love different foods. I could be convinced of almost anywhere.
I honestly, one of my favorite things to say is like whenever the stress is getting high and you see everybody's like, okay, how are we going to do this? My response is always, don't worry, it's going to be fun. Like, it's just a saying. And people are always looking to be entertained and busy. And for me, we have a job to do. It's not going to help if we're all stressed and we're all wanting to we're running around like chicken with our heads cut off. Don't worry, it's going to be fun. And when you keep saying that, people start to actually have fun at work and they build or events, and it breaks them from that. So for me, I could live anywhere because I'm going to make sure I have fun. I'm going to make sure I break barriers and I challenge myself. And I'm actually going to remove that so we see all of Ilsa. I didn't even catch that till now. So the way we end our show, Ilsa's going to help me with this, is we do a positive affirmation, whether it's your favorite quote, whether it is just a positive word, or a way you want to just get something off your heart. I love to hear us all like encourage one another. So I will start. Ilsa will go second. And then Michael will go and end us out, and we'll thank him, and boom, everybody's gonna go change their world today. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start by thanking Michael for coming on. Absolutely amazing interview. He is building up a future of positivity, excitement, and joy. Do yourself a favor, go support that, because you can't change the world without believing in one another and seeing the people who are actually influencing this world. And Michael is living that example. Today is a day that, while it may only be Tuesday, it may be noon here and 6 o'clock for Ilsa, today is a day that you still have the opportunity to make your world the best Tuesday of the year. So do yourself a favor, step out of your comfort zone, step into the world, and go be your best you.
And it's my turn. Hi, guys. First of all, I just want to say thank you for making me feel so welcome, and sorry for all the glitches. I do not know what is up with technology in South Africa today. And then I just want to add to and say that you have to change how you feel inside to change what is going on around you on the outside. I believe that if you have darkness and sadness and everything inside your heart, it will reflect in your outside world. And then I just want to read something to you that was in my diary for today. It says, perhaps when we find ourselves wanting everything, it is because we are dangerously close to wanting nothing. Have a great Tuesday and change the world.
Love that. I love that.
Yeah, that was a super powerful quote. Wow, it's tough act to follow.
Right?
I'm sorry.
Well, first, I just want to thank everyone for listening, and Brennan and Ilsa, thank you so much for having me on the show. Loved having this conversation with you both. For everyone out there, I would just encourage you, no matter what your situation is, whether it's a great day or a terrible day, take some time for you, reflect, see, am I living the best version of myself? And if not, that's okay. But you can take tangible steps today to get closer tomorrow. And so, chase that happiness, chase that fulfillment, and make sure that you redefine success for yourself. Got to stay on brand.
I love that. I love it. Whether iceberg lettuce or romaine is your choice, do yourself a favor and get out there and be the best you. That's all there is. Michael, thank you so much again. Everybody, I will share the link one more time. Go support Michael. Go to his website, sign up, stalk his LinkedIn, tell him Brandon sent you. Trust me, I'm sure he gets a million messages a day on there just by LinkedIn being LinkedIn. But Michael, I would love to connect with you again. And honestly, you're a positive person, and I love what you're doing. So thank you for coming on and giving part of your time and your energy to us today. So guys,
thank you.
Yeah, guys, go change the world today, and make sure to share, like, comment, and love everybody today. Even if you don't like them, guess what? You can still do your best to show them positivity, excitement, and the best version of yourself.
And
Thank
respect.
you, guys. And respect. Love Elsa, high five. Guys, have a good one, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.